What's up, guys? Welcome back to THI. I guess this is the last time I can say that in it. It's the last time on a podcast.
Well, it is, yeah.
This is the last time on a podcast I'm going to say anything in reference to THI anymore. It's bittersweet in a lot of ways. But exciting times ahead.
I'm so excited. I told a lot of people in Charlotte, and they're like, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
People who are in our media circle, meaning covering North Carolina, and a lot of people outside it. A lot of names people watching here know, because some people came up to me and said, I thought you retired. Wes Durham came up to me and said, you look pretty good for a retired guy.
You said,
like, I'm not retired.
Yeah, people.
Yeah. I was actually talking to the guys who do the Heels Brothers podcast. Shout out to them. There's some fans out there that have great podcasts. And I think it's an important part of the ecosystem, the media ecosystem. They're not technically going to be credentialed to cover games and stuff. The kickoff credentials a lot of people, and I was so excited to hear they got credentialed. They were there Thursday, but you need to have some good places for fans to go to hear what fans are saying.
Smart 100%.
Not completely emotional fans. The Heel Brothers podcast is a great place for Carolina fans to go. And I was standing with them, and when Wes came over and said that, I'm like, dude, I'm too young to retire, first of all. So I just wanted to step back and get life balance. The opportunity that's coming our way, that launches this week, is a great opportunity that allows me life balance. So I'm still going to grind like an SOB, but I get life balance. I get to hang out with my daughter.
Yeah.
My wife jokes on Facebook every year when I go to football practice, the first practice. She goes, she'll go on Facebook. Well, I'll send her pictures of practice, and she'll post them and says, well, football practice started. I'll see you in late April.
Yeah, literally. It's so accurate. Yeah.
So she's going to see me intermittently until late April.
Yeah. You see a little bit more now. I don't know if she's happy about that or not, but yeah, she better get ready for it.
So this is it for THI. I'm excited. I cannot wait to tell people what's going on. I can't wait to launch into it. I can't wait for Carolina fans to get tremendous coverage that they want, even better coverage than ever before. They're really going to be in a great position. So this is a fun thing.
Yeah, we'll be launching it soon. So just keep it locked here. The next podcast that we put out will be announcing that, just letting everybody know.
By the way, someone will complain that we've taken too long to get into the defense. So
we're gonna dive right into it now. So let's talk about the defense. We're here to discuss it. We did an offensive one yesterday, kind of looking at things to look out for during fall camp. Again, we don't really know what the access is going to look like, but again, you can still come on here and kind of talk about some of the key storylines and things that are going to have to shake out for Carolina to have potentially have a really good year this year in year one under Bill Belichick. And I want to approach this one a little differently. The offense one, we really honed in on position groups a little bit more. I want to more focus on the bigger picture of defense, because I think the number one thing when you look at the defense, especially look at the guys that we are going to think that are probable starters ever right now, you were talking about a just huge number of new guys. There's not a lot of returning snaps on defense. You got a couple of key guys like a Marcus Allen, a Will Hardy, a Caleb Cost, but overall there are a ton of new guys, mainly transfers that have come in on the defensive side. And you're also in year one under new defensive coordinator Steve Belichick, who we did a podcast on recently as well. So this is a very intriguing group. This is not a position group. This is a side of the ball that Carolina fans have been deeply, deeply scarred by for the last 15 to 20 years. And I think that is a no-brainer for any Carolina fan. I mean, am I lying about that, AJ? Am I lying about all that?
I didn't know you were going to say that. That's so well put.
Yeah,
scarred is 100%. I mean, literal scars.
Yeah,
you can see
100%.
They need to be tended to sometimes. A little ointment.
Yeah, it is a believe it. It is a I will believe it when I see it mentality from a lot of Carolina fans on the defensive side of the ball, and I don't blame you one bit when you look at the just how much this side of the ball has struggled, really going back to the freaking Butch Davis era, pretty much, to really find a top defense, and we all know how that one ended. So this is a group that people are very intrigued about. This is a group that I think a lot of people are cautiously optimistic about. I don't know why there are balloons off going on in my background. Did you see those balloons going off?
Yeah, what the hell's going on?
I don't even know. I have no idea what that was.
I thought that was like the new Jacob with balloons, like optimism. I thought they reflected optimism.
Maybe they're trying to bring the vibes up a little bit as I'm talking a little negative about the defense. I didn't click any buttons.
Either that or they're Kramer from Seinfeld's Everyday Balloons. Remember that episode?
Yeah.
Everyday Balloons.
Yeah, that is the first time I've seen that on here. Maybe I'll have to keep an eye out. Maybe it's something I said. Maybe it thought I said happy birthday or something. I don't know. You never know with these AI things nowadays. But back to the topic here on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to just kind of more so focus in on the guys that I think are going to have to come in and be ready from day one for Carolina to have a good year defensively. So, AJ, who are some of the bigger names or most intriguing names that you look at on this defensive side of the ball? Because I think there's quite a few, starting with a guy like a Thad Dixon that you could kind of hone in on as these transfers are going to have to come in and really produce from day one. Coleman Bryson, Kamori House, Andrew Simpson. There is a lot of guys in here that could have major impacts on the defensive side of the ball. But who are some maybe the bigger guys that stand out this year? Then we'll talk about the D line later. I want to save that as kind of a separate topic later.
Well, because if you to answer your question, I would include D line guys, but if you want me to stay in the back seven,
let's save that for its own.
Stay in the back seven. I'm going to start. I'm going to really focus on the new guys. You mentioned Kamori House. You mentioned Andrew Simpson. You mentioned Thad Dixon. I think that's where it is. So if Andrew Simpson is someone that could come in and have the potential is there to have the kind of impact defensively for Carolina. Like, I'm drawing a blank now for his name, the Albany defensive end for Florida State a couple of years ago. He was all ACC, all America. Yeah. I'm drawing a blank. Pardon me. I know you're talking about. I don't remember. A lot of you will be able to fill in on the thread here. I think he has the potential to have that kind of impact. It's funny. A lot of the conversations I had in Charlotte at the ACC kickoff, but Carolina just doesn't really have the roster for it. Well, we don't know. I mean, how many people outside of Brian Murphy used to cover Boise State and probably still watches them some? How many people saw Andrew Simpson play last year? They don't know what he is.
It's Jared Verse, by the way. Jared,
yeah. So, Jared, my bad. So, how many people watched Thad Dixon play? How many people, I'm going to go with defensive line, saw DeAndre Robinson's 339 snaps at Florida? Nobody really knows these guys. They're not familiar with him. So, it's hard to look at the name on a roster and say, oh, wow, that pops out. So we don't know, but what we do know is that a guy like Simpson was brought in to potentially be a big-time player. If he's a big-time player at linebacker, that's huge. If Thad Dixon, who was honorable mention All Big Ten last year, and he was available in June and was available this last week in Charlotte, which means they think a lot of him, if he's that guy, that's huge. So you got a linebacker that's big-time. You get a corner, and I think Dixon's going to probably play corner opposite Marcus Allen. That's huge. I mean, think about it. Allen had Elijah Huzzy on the other side.
Yeah.
Huzzy's really good, but he wasn't. I think Dixon might have better specs. The league might look at Dixon a little bit more favorably than they did Huzzy. Mm-hmm. Allen is in a position to really kind of reach his potential. I think that process slowed as time went on at Carolina under the previous staff. He just didn't really develop as much as maybe he should have. All the potential's there. Well, he's still there. And like I say about all the guys that were on the team before, they're still there, which means they've gone through all that and they're cool with it and the staff is cool with them. And that's a very positive thing. So if Thad Dixon's that guy and Marcus Allen's a lot better and you've got a linebacker like Simpson, and by the way, I think Kamori House is very talented. Yeah. You've got a very athletic middle with your two linebackers there and your two corners, very athletic and really good size at corner. So that's a great situation. If you're looking at some of the other new guys, I have to go up front because a bunch of them are up front, Jacob. And the reason is because they have 3 snaps back from last season on the defensive line. 3. Now, that doesn't include Jabron Harvey, who was a Jack last year, or whatever. They change the name every year. My understanding is he's getting more true defensive end reps now. Tyler Thompson, we're not sure if he's getting reps at linebacker or defensive end. It changes if he is, but they weren't defensive line snaps. Leroy Jackson got 3 in a mop-up game. I think it was the Central game. So they brought in a bunch of new guys. So how much pressure is there on Dixon and Allen and Simpson and House because of where the defensive front is? Are they so good they allow those guys natural abilities, great athletic ability to make plays? Or are they not very good and they just have to get stops? Make plays, get stops. Where are they? Where are they in that range? That all depends on what the front line does. And I think the front line is the biggest question mark on the team. Bigger than quarterback. I think quarterback's a bigger – they're both huge. And if you have problems in either area, you're not going to be a very successful team. But at least we've seen Gio some. And I think that you can find ways to build around a quarterback and use him, to move him, to find his hot spots that you operate from to make him a little bit successful. Case in point, in 2018, Larry Fedora and his staff and Chris and Coach Cap, they figured out a way for Nathan Elliott to have 300-yard passing games in nine starts that year. So they figured out a way to make it happen. All right. You can do that on offense. If your defensive front can't stop the run, you can't scheme around it to get them to stop the run any better. They can't stop it. They can't stop it. North Carolina fans have seen that all century for the most part. So if these guys can stop the run and if they can generate a conventional pass rush, because the pro style offense they're running on offense, they want to run basic pro stuff on defense too, which is adjustable. But without stopping the run and without generating some kind of conventional push up front of a pass rush, it's not going to work.
No.
So the bells and whistles are great. And the talent I think they have in the back seven is pretty considerable. Mm-hmm. But what is that defensive front? To me, it all comes down to the defensive line. Yeah,
well, let's talk about the defensive line. I agree in a lot of things you said there in terms of it being just so vitally important for this year's team and any team. I mean, that's why we spend so much time. It feels like when Carolina has struggled in both lines of scrimmage, honing in and focusing so much on that. I mean, we talked all fall camp last year about, Matt kind of came out early in fall camp before fall camp started. I forgot when it was. It was like, yeah, I think this is going to be the best O-line we've ever had. And me and you were kind of like, based on what? You know what I mean? Like, and then how the season played out, it was okay and improved, but it wasn't maybe as good as Mac had alluded to early on in the year. I think.
Well, they didn't give up 50 sacks like they did in 2021.
That's a good point. I guess there was some truth in it, but not the smartest thing to say before football starts. And no disrespect.
Well, they had 9 ineligible receiver downfield flags. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? It's
more than one is unacceptable.
Yeah, it's not very good at all. But back to this year's team, you talked about it. There is essentially almost zero returning snaps on the defensive line, and there's so much newness down there. Now, I think there's a lot of talent down there. I really do. I think there's a lot of very intriguing parts. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce his last name. We're going to call him Melcart for the foreseeable future.
Abu Jode.
Yeah, something like that. I don't want to butcher it, so we're going to, until we get that confirmation from him or I learn how to pronounce it, I'm going to call him Melcart. So if you can call him Melcart, that's
you
what
can actually go to Delaware's official
they have a pronunciation
site. And I think that they have a pronunciation thing there.
I know Jones Angell typically has it on the football roster, but I don't know if they've done it for Carolina yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Delaware did that. And I knew it 100% before, but this past month I've been writing the book. So I'm already prepared for football in June. June was a football preparation month, big time. Abu Jode. It's a cool name, actually.
Very cool name. Very cool name.
It's going to be easier to say than write.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He's going to be one of those guys that fans immediately refer to him by first name.
Yeah, 100%. I'm
so much easier.
I'm doing that too. I'm calling him Melcart for the foreseeable. I might just keep it up for the rest of the time he's here at Carolina. We're going with Melcart, but again, very intriguing transfer from Delaware. I think there's a lot to like about him. I think even honing in on some more guys. I mean, heck, where do you even start? I think a guy like Price Yates from UConn, and we saw what he did against Carolina in the bowl game last year. Really talented guy, and I know they lost Bo Atkinson. North Carolina fans are upset about that, but I think replacing him with a Melcart and a guy like Price Yates again is a very adequate replacement. And I think a lot of ways we talked about a little bit off camera. You're kind of getting a 2-for-1 there with the talent that I think both of those guys have. So I think that's again, I know people are upset about losing Bo Atkinson. I get it and I understand it. He goes to Ohio State and people are like, oh man, look where he went. But again, I don't think there's that big of a gap by replacing him if you just focus on those two guys with what you lost with Bo Atkinson. That's my personal opinion on him. Carolina,
I love Bo's potential, but look at his stats last year if you carve out the Florida State game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, we have to be real, right?
Yeah.
So that's I think I really like Price Yates.
Mm-hmm.
He was injured last year, only played 7 games, but he's more than just a player. I mean, we haven't had a chance to get into that part of the team yet, okay? I would imagine there's a Christo Kelly element to him. We talked about Christo Kelly in the offensive podcast, about the kind of guy he is, the voice he is, about the aura he gives off. And he's one of those kind of people everyone wants to be around in that room. I think Yates is one of those guys on defense, from what I can tell. Again, limited access, but there have been conversations, and I've read up about him and chatted with the guy that covered UConn, that kind of thing, to try to get a little more information on him. I think he's someone that could have that kind of impact on the defense. Of course, he has to perform. That's the thing about the new guys. They can be great in July in OTAs and voice and the guy that you want to go bowling with, but you got to produce, especially when there's all these new guys. That's one of the neat things about college football now. With 70 new players, there wasn't really an entrenched hierarchy in this football team with all these new guys coming in. It sort of happens organically from winter workouts through fall camp, and there's some adjusting, and some new guys came in. So Yates has proven he could play, and he's proven he could play against really good teams. I mean, UConn plays enough really good teams that you could see the film. I mean, in fact, when Carolina was going to play them, I remember talking in the press box before the game with someone about him, saying that's the kind of guy Carolina needs to get. And then I watched him a lot in the bowl game, right there. I watched him in person. I watched him come on the field, off the field, because you just kind of had a feeling he was one of those guys that might be in play, and there was nothing to dislike. Everything about, he gets to the sideline, he's talking to guys, he gets them going. There's some of that Cedric Gray on the sideline, except Cedric had to sometimes learn to tone it down sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Yates has that issue or not, but they were winning, so he was obviously very encouraging that day.
He's a defensive MVP in that game, if I remember.
Yeah, and he's an experienced guy, a mature guy. He's a guy that's on NFL radars. So is Melkart, NFL radars. He's one of those. He's one of those guys that now he's got an opportunity to really show what he can do. So the defense, to me, is really going to personify the theme that we're going to use in August, building toward the opener, and that's opportunity. There is a crap load of opportunity across the board defensively for all these guys. There's a lot of dudes that we're not even going to mention, whose names we're not going to mention in this podcast, who could end up being starters and big-time players. That's the opportunity that's there. Because how often do you bring in, let's say you pinpoint 5 or 6 transfers, and they've got to be really good, and all 5 or 6 are really good? It doesn't happen.
No, it rarely happens like that.
Like DeAndre Robinson might be the most intriguing of them all, the defensive tackle that came from Florida.
Yeah,
played
Florida.
300-something snaps as a true freshman, probably would have started there this coming year, or certainly been a 450, 500 snap guy. Mm-hmm. He's got to start for Carolina if he's that good, right? He's got to be really good, but he's only a sophomore. Maybe he's not 100% ready for 550 snaps, whether it's at Florida or North Carolina. We don't know. So maybe there's somebody else there. Maybe one of those guys from Penn State flex out and they're like, I'm the dude. Yeah, and they end up playing 550, 600 snaps. Mm-hmm. And they're that guy. So we don't know. That's what makes it so fun. That's what makes it so interesting. And that's why I think the opportunity that's in front of the school and the program and Bill Belichick is there across the board defensively.
Yeah.
Every spot of the defense.
Yeah. There's just so many new guys. I mean, these guys, like you said, we haven't even mentioned CJ Mims from ECU, Isaiah Johnson from Arizona. I mean, there's just Smith Vilbert from Penn State. I mean, these are guys that, especially a couple of those guys, and they've played a good amount of snaps in college, but are, again, coming into a new program, coming into a new system, playing under a whole new coaching staff over here. There's just so much newness on this side of the ball that I think the defense kind of personifies the team as a whole. We've said it many times, of like trying to predict and have a accurate prediction of what this team is going to be is extremely difficult because of, just the sheer amount of newness here. And I think the defense really personifies that, because you're just looking at, the lack of guys that have come back and the guys that are having to be replaced and the amount of new guys that have come in. And it is just a completely new look defense under a completely, new look defensive coordinator in Steve Belichick. So I'm very intrigued to see what this defensive line, not only the defensive line, this defense as a whole is going to be. But I do agree with you. This is not rocket science. We talk about it every year, and is the basics of football. It all starts in the trenches, man. And the D line is not good enough. Carolina is going to struggle on the defensive side of the ball, and they will struggle as a team. So that position group with all that newness is going to be, in my opinion, along with the quarterback, like you said, the two biggest things to watch going in fall camp. Those are the two things that I am most intrigued about. I'm intrigued by the team as a whole because of everything. But if you had to make me pick two, those are the two that I would, if I could go to practice every day, those are the two biggest position groups I would be looking at, because I think just so much of the success this season relies on the quarterback and relies on the defensive line. And again, that's not rocket science for me saying that.
And so leaving out the other position groups, if the other position groups are like they should be, and I think we have a level of expectation of should for the other position groups, even without seeing them play as units yet. There is no real level of expectation of should at quarterback and defensive line. Not yet. So leaving the rest of them out, if quarterback and D-line are C's, like the grade C, it's a bowl team, but how much above being bowl team?
Yeah, it's not a great team. It's an okay team. Yeah.
If they're B, you're talking 8 wins, possibly 9.
Mm-hmm.
If they're D, you're in that 4 or 5 win, struggling to get to the 6. You don't want to go to Raleigh needing a 6 win, right? If they're B pluses, and then there's some flare-ups in some of those other areas, more than what is expected, suddenly, and the ball bounces their way, and they steal a close one on the road at Syracuse. They don't have many injuries, and a muff punt helps them at Central Florida, and they win that one. Suddenly, that's how you get a season that can be really, really good, and you have people completely tuned in right up to the end, at the end of November and into December possibly. So that's kind of how this is right now. I think that they look like they have the potential to me to be pretty good outside of defensive line and quarterback. And the reason I say outside that, because it's completely unknown.
Yeah.
The range is literally the width of this screen right now.
Yeah. Oh God, it could go either way. It really could. And again, that's why it's so hard to predict this team, like I've said, because those are just two of the most important position groups on the team. You know what I mean? And I think you can make a case for the O-line to an extent. Again, I don't have as many question marks about the O-line as I do about the defensive line and
no, not at all
about quarterbacks, but still there is a lot of newness down there in a very important position group. But there's a lot of experience that's come in. But again, we talk about chemistry too. How does the defensive line gel? And again, how does the offensive line gel? These are question marks that we just don't know yet, which is, again, why I keep saying it's so hard to predict what this team's actually going to be.
You can always manipulate offensively in a way you can't manipulate defensively.
Mm-hmm.
The defense has to respond to what the offense does. Offense
point,
can dictate how the defense responds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why offense will always have the advantage in that respect. Going back to the original premise of the podcast, names to keep an ear out for, and for us to keep an eye out for. I want to hear about Andrew Simpson. I want to hear more about Thad Dixon, not just about what a cool guy he is, but what kind of player he is, okay? I want to hear about Kamari House. I want to hear about DeAndre. You brought up CJ Mims a few minutes ago. Thank you for doing that. I left him out. I think CJ Mims is one of those guys quietly that could be Aaron Crawford this year, or like a version of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot there. But I want to know, I can't wait to figure out what couple of names we hear, given we get enough access to hear a lot, that we're not talking about right now.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys. Now, keep this in mind, too, about fall camp. There's always a few dudes the players talk up, and you're like, man, that guy's going to get on the field. And then you're 5 weeks in the season, and he's got 6 snaps, and it was against an FCS team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always got to be cautious about it, like in basketball. I remember every year. Andrew Playtek's the best three-point shooter, and I love Andrew. Andrew's a great guy. He was actually one of my favorite dudes to cover. I really enjoyed his process in a lot of ways, okay? But Andrew's shooting lights out. Andrew's going to have a big year, and Andrew struggled some when the lights went on. So that's always going to happen. But one or two of those guys are always it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder who it's going to be, especially on the defensive side. Nothing will surprise me on offense, but someone's name is going to come out and keep coming out and keep coming out. by the time we get into game week for the TCU game that we've heard enough on defense. You start to believe it, and then you look out on the field when they take the field for the first defensive series against the Horned Frogs, and he's out there. You're like, wow, that guy's starting.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. So that's what our job is going to be, is to flesh through all that and report that to you guys. Mm-hmm. And you need to keep your eyes and ears open for it too. I think that's what makes this next month as interesting a fall camp as I've ever been around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just making me think. I mean, we even talked about when you say guys that could stand out. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole.
Every one of them.
Yeah, but we haven't even talked about guys, experienced guys like Gavin Gibson, Coleman Bryson in the secondary. I mean, these guys we haven't even mentioned that
Gavin Gibson
really know what it's going to be. You know what I mean?
Gavin Gibson is a player.
I know. And there's a very real chance he starts back there. You know what I mean? It really is. So.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, a couple of ECU guys, right?
Yeah, I know, man. They got a couple of ECU guys.
Or Gibson, ECU, Maryland, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I actually did a really long interview with him after he committed. One of the most impressive transfer commitment interviews I've ever had.
Yeah, sometimes you don't get a lot out of those, do you?
He was really, really good. And again, another guy, he's got a year. Yeah. He's got to play for his food, man. He's playing for his meal. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like. That's one of the neat things about the portal and how college football's changed is you bring in a lot of guys who got a year left. They're playing for their meal, man. That's the NFL. I've told you before. I've told you the story when I was covering the Panthers, how they would have injuries. And Bill talked a little bit about it yesterday. Like, hey, you lose a couple of guards, you can go out and get one. You lose a kicker, you can go out and get one. You can't go out and get one in the middle of college football season. So naturally, you have bigger rosters. But in the NFL, you can. But a lot of teams keep guys, they have them on the practice squad or they're on the fringe practice squad. They have access to facilities, that kind of thing. And I can't remember his name right now. There was an offensive lineman with the Panthers when I was covering them some that they pulled him in for like 6 games one year. And he gets a game check. So there it's called you're playing for your game checks, right? Yeah. And you could play 6 games in a season and make so much more money than the guys who are valedictorian in high school and Phi Beta Kappa in college are making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're playing for your meal, man. In college, you're playing for your meal. And you have a lot of dudes like that. It can go one of two ways. Early on, there's going to be great competition. But if some of these guys end up not playing much, how much is there a white flag aspect to them because they're not getting on the field and it's their last year, or do they keep pushing? I think Belichick will create the kind of culture where they'll keep pushing.
I agree.
And I think that's going to give North Carolina football a better culture. Remember what Will Hardy said to me the other day? Mm-hmm. Now, I was kind of joking with him about being a Belichick guy. I said, how is he? He's like, it's football, which might be the greatest quote, depending how things go, I've ever heard from a Carolina football player. Because if this turns out to work, I'm going to go back to that and say it's football. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. It's what it comes down to. It's football. Bells and whistles, the analytics, Sparky holding on to that 68-pound book with 387,000 pages in there. I don't know how he knew where to go. You can't have 387,000 tabs, right?
He might have.
We got to call 3 timeouts to determine whether they're going to go for on 4th and 1 or not, right?
Yeah.
I know I'm making a joke about Mac. My criticism of Mac was you got to the Hall of Fame without ever using one of those stupid things.
Why
so
use
you don't
it
need one now.
Yeah.
Don't rely on it. I think it hurt more than it helped, be honest with you. I think it took some of the juice out of him because he relied on something else. That's one of my big pet peeves about the Orioles. They rely too much on a stupid computer instead of gut instinct. I think Bill Belichick probably uses everything, okay? But I guarantee you he trusts his instincts.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, you don't get to where he's at without trusting your instincts. And no doubt about it. So
it's football. And his instincts are football. So it goes back to what Will Hardy said. And we'll revisit that in November. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's what makes all this cool.
We will be revisiting that quote. Yep. There's no doubt about it. We will definitely be revisiting that quote numerous times throughout the season, depending on how this thing goes. But yeah, defense is a question mark, but a lot of new pieces, a lot of things to like about what has kind of come in there, especially in the transfer portal. And again, like Steve Belichick did a great job turning Washington around in 1 year. If he can have even 3/4 of that success at Carolina this year, it's going to be such an improved product. And I think that'll obviously lead to a better season overall. So we shall see, though. It comes down to that DL, though, man. You got to have a DL, man. It starts in the trenches, AJ.
How excited are you?
Oh, I'm super excited.
As a member of the media, because you're going out of town, but you'll be back by the 2nd, right?
Yeah, I'll be back the second that evening. So
okay,
yeah.
so you'll be back by the 2nd?
Yeah, I'll be back literally that evening. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so if they practice at daytime, you're going to miss practice?
Yes. Yeah, I won't be back till late evening, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Note to Justin Wilson, move practice to late at night so Jacob can go.
Yeah. Or just open Sunday's practice. Just open that up to the media so I can come in there and check it out, man.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be nice.
Anyway, I'm excited. Whatever glimpse I can get, I can't wait to get.
Oh, it's going to be so intriguing, man. I'm so excited to just learn about this team and see how things play out, because newness it breeds excitement, because there's just so many of these, I always call them these new shiny toys kind of walking around the KFC right now. And God, there are so many here. And again, it's exciting. And I think for Carolina fans, it's exciting, but I also think it's a little bit nerve wracking too. Like we've talked about, it's kind of like, man, what is this team going to be?
I had a few tell me Thursday and Friday it was nerve wracking.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it.
I've got Carolina friends in my family, and they're like, "Man, I'm really worried about this team. I don't know."
Because you just don't know. You just and there's a little bit added pressure, I think, that comes in with this whole new staff and Bill Belichick leading it, where like you want to believe it can be really good this year, but you're also looking at the roster, being like, "Man, I'm." You're like a lot of these fans sitting here like, "I'm still learning names, man. Like, I forgot about that guy." You know,
Kirk Herbstreit, the expert that he is, doesn't know every roster, and he's not going to look at a lot of rosters and say, wow. In basketball, it's different because guys come in having played in environments that against comparable players, and they build reputation. Cooper Flagg had the reputation before he came in. It's not the same transition anymore that it used to be in basketball. And you could sort of everybody's going to expect something positive from Caleb Wilson. He may not be a superstar, but he should be at least at the minimum a good player, right? Yeah. In football, you don't have that with recruiting for the most part. Rarely does that happen. And with so many transfers, they got 40 transfers. They all can't start.
Yeah.
So you can't look at a lot of these and say, well, I can gauge from this roster superstars. Unless you've got absolute NFL guys, it's really hard to look at that. So nobody can look at this roster outside of the coaching staff and really understand what they're looking at. Nobody can. Nobody. As much as I respect Roddy Jones on ACC Network, I think he's fantastic. Okay, I think Tom Luganville is fantastic. Tom Luganville, Roddy, they do their work, man. They do. They don't know it either, and they know a hell of a lot more than you and I do. And that's what makes this exciting and fun. It's going to spring up. This season's going to be like spring when stuff starts sprouting from the ground. The difference is we don't know what's coming up. It's going to be really, really fun to watch what sprouts.
Yeah, it will be, man. I'm looking forward to it. And again, it's right around the corner. The next podcast we do, like I mentioned earlier, will be our announcement podcast. So that's exciting. We're going to take a couple of day hiatus before we roll that one out. And yeah, just keep it locked here, man. Because again, it's like THI's come to an end, but it's just the beginning at the same time of this new venture. So it's really cool. It's really, really cool. And it's, again, not only are we excited about football season start, man, we're excited about getting this thing rolling too. So yeah, it's going to be
so well put.
I appreciate it, man. Every once in a while, I can throw some stuff out there that makes sense.
There's a reason you're still doing this with me. I think you know that. I think you know that. Hey, thank you for bridging the gap this month with me.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
It's been different. This has been a blessing in many ways because I finished my book finally. So to all my friends back at Fort Hunt, yes, I actually wrote it. They think, why is it taking so long? Well, it's because for 9.5 months out of the year, I'm swamped.
Yeah,
so they're going to say it took AJ 4 years to write this book, but if you really parse it out, it took me a year.
Yeah.
And the writing part was the easiest. Now, my dad, who's written 21 books, says, well, the hard part comes now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But
he would know. You got a good mentor there. He would know a thing or two about writing books.
So. Yeah, but my book's different. And the cool thing is that I know some people who went to my school that have New York Times bestsellers. So they might be able to help. You know, Nova grads.
It's all about who you know, man. It's all about
maybe Hoda Kotb can help. She was Hody back in the day.
I love it.
Who knows? You never know. I'm putting it out there because maybe she'll catch wind.
Yeah, maybe she'll hear this podcast. Maybe she's a big.
She knows what I'm doing, obviously, and so anyway, I'm hoping that works out. That'd be great. Maybe it won't be as challenging a process because the next book venture are children's stories with my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you've mentioned that to me. Yeah. Yeah. You got some books in the works, man. Hopefully we got a little more work-life balance now. You can maybe work on it more.
I'll throw it out. I've got that. I've got another actual book story that was my daughter's idea that I'm going to run on and she's going to play with as well. So I'm kind of working with her in the next two. And then I've got one after that that has an awful lot to do. Will be very interesting to the people that are watching this. It's basketball related. Ooh, it's about one coach and another coach. That's what my goal is to do.
I love it. Oh, I mean, hopefully
I'm not on it yet. I'm not.
Yeah, it's
the other two. I've done stuff like we've done character development for one, and 48 of the short stories are already done because they stem from when Ellie I was trying to put her to bed years ago. Mm-hmm. So that's where it came from. And it's been stewing down there, kind of hanging out, waiting for the right time. So now that Fort Hunt is over, somewhat, I can get on that pretty soon. So
yeah, man, you got a lot of things in the works, man.
I got so much stuff I want to do, man. And you know what? I want to go to football practice. I want to watch the Tar Heels, and I want to do everything in my power to provide the best possible content and observation Carolina fans can get, because I think they deserve it.
100%, man. Very, very well said. And I second everything you said right there. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up. I think it's a good place to wrap this one up. Again, new podcast. Next podcast you see will be the announcement pod. We can finally stop teasing it because I think we're both kind of tired of teasing it. And again, let me just say this. We would have announced it 3 weeks ago if we could. But again, just contractually, we had to wait till when we actually when it actually comes out. We can't do it. So,
okay. Yeah. May 10th, my wife and I drove to Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Mm-hmm. May 9th, we knew this was happening.
Yeah, it's crazy. Isn't it?
We had to then sort things out, staffing and all that kind of stuff. So it's weird. It was a week and a half after my column went out. Something came on my lap. A lot of stuff came my way, man.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll discuss it.
Hold on a minute here. I was stunned.
Yeah,
because I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I was stunned, and a lot of stuff came my way. This opportunity came my way, and it fit exactly into what I want. And then we kind of had some massaging going on for a while before we got it ironed out. So we could have announced this whole thing, a few weeks ago for sure, a month ago for sure. It's been a process, but it's been fun, and people are going to be excited, man.
Yeah, they definitely will be. They definitely will be.
You're going to recognize some names on the staff.
No doubt about it. And that's exciting for everyone, including us, and hopefully exciting for Carolina fans watching this. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you really do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell too, so you're notified exactly when that video comes out. And yeah, man, we're looking forward to it. And I hope Carolina fans.
And the channel won't change too.
Yeah, same channel. Yeah.
The channel all of our socials won't change. We're just going to tweak the names. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We'll do that in a few days. Mm-hmm. But this will be your place still.
Yeah, you know where to find us, man. We're not going anywhere. We don't have to do anything on the YouTube side. You might see the name change. You'll see the name change, logo change a little bit, but it'll be in the same location. So, yeah, we're not going anywhere over here. So, good addition there to add in there. But we'll have a lot more details in the podcast we do that comes out here in a few days after you've watched this one. So, appreciate it, guys. Appreciate y'all watching as always. Thanks for sticking with us through this last couple months as we've been kind of in a transition period, but exciting times ahead. We're very close to being able to announce that. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks.